Hi there. So this morning I was going to try something to see if I can get these green twist or echinacea seeds that I have from a couple of seasons ago to sprout. I only have 2 seeds left, and I didn't want to waste my efforts with sowing these if I didn't think that they were viable. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to grab a paper towel and I'm going to moisten it. You don't want it soaked, you just want it a little damp. I think that's enough. Here's our damp paper towel, and I'm going to fold it in half because you want to create a moist environment for your seeds. Okay, and now I'm going to take my 2 seeds and I'm going to place them on my paper towel. Again, make sure that your paper towel is damp enough. And then I'm going to fold them in there. And you're going to put them in a Ziploc bag. I have my small Ziploc bag and my seeds that I've rolled in this damp paper towel. And I'm going to place them in the bag and I'm going to label them. I put the variety of the seed that I'm trying to sprout as well as the date. And now the next step is to put them in a warm spot. Now you have a couple of options here. The first option is right above your refrigerator. Heat rises, so this is going to naturally be a really warm spot. So you can just open up your cabinet, you can throw them in there, and then you're going to set a reminder on your phone to come back and check them in 7 to 14 days, which is what the packet says is the time frame for germination. If it's not too warm on top of your refrigerator, another option is in some kind of room where you have your heating. So this is my mechanical room where we have our hot water tank and our heating system. I'm just going to throw it up there. It's super warm in this room, so that's another option. If you happen to have one of these seedling mats that you roll out and plug in, and they'll generate bottom heat for your seedlings, you can always take one of these out, plug it in, and put your baggie on top of that. The test that I just performed, where we're going to see if the seeds are going to sprout by wrapping them in the damp paper towel and putting them in a warm spot, is called a germination test. There are 2 methods to check for germination, one being the germination test and another being the water test. So these were my older seeds that I got back in 2020. So I had sowed 6 seeds in 2020 and then I had given some away, and then I was trying to sprout them again on 1/20 of 22, so this year, so 2 years later. So these are the ones that I did the germination test with. Now, I really like these seeds and I wanted to try growing these again because I accidentally weeded out my seedlings in the flower bed that I had started a couple of years ago. So what I'm going to do now is, because these are brand new, I just received them this year, they're from 2022, I'm going to take 2 of these seeds right here, and I'm going to do the water test. So the water test is, you take a bowl, you put some water in it, you place your seeds in it, and if the seeds sink, they're viable, and if they float, they're less likely to germinate. And so because these are from my brand new packet of seeds, I will expect that in 15 to 20 minutes, which is the time frame that they say you should test this for, that these seeds will sink to the bottom. I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes and we'll check back. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes and I'm back to check on my seeds, and I don't know if you can tell through the video, but they actually are still floating. So according to the water test, if they were viable, they would have sunk to the bottom, and if they're less viable, they would float to the top. Now, based on the fact that these are brand new seeds purchased this year, it's very likely that these are perfectly viable. So the fact that they didn't sink has me questioning this water test method. So to me, I feel like the germination test might be a better indicator of viability on the seeds. So let's take a look at the ones that we tried to sprout on the 20th of January. So it's the evening of January 31st, and these have been trying to sprout since the 20th. So 7 days into this, I had them on top of the refrigerator. 7 days into it, I went to check if the paper towel needed to be moistened again, and I did notice that they still hadn't germinated. I'm suspect that it's just not warm enough above my refrigerator, because I have a newer fridge, so sometimes those newer refrigerators that are a little more energy efficient don't generate as much heat as, say, an older model. So then what I did was I moved them to the basement and I put them on top of my water heater. And it was much warmer down there. And in 4 days, look what we have. Let me try to focus this in. So we have some sprouted seeds. So the pack says that these seedlings take about 10 to 21 days to emerge. Depending on what your seed packet says for germination, you want to check on the seedlings that you're trying to sprout every few days. Check for moisture. If you need to, you can mist the paper towel with some water. And if you need to do what I did and move locations, do that also. In total, these took me 11 days to germinate, 7 above the fridge, and an additional 4 days in a warmer location. So now I know that these last 2 babies were viable, and I'm going to pot them up and see if they'll grow into plants. So that was a cool germination test. If you have any suspect seeds, give it a shot.